Have you guys ever wanted to change yourself? Check it out. I got my steak and rice bowl because I know rice is best. Shut up. And got cucumber with salad dressing. Got sliced up avocado and got cooked asparagus because I think you gotta have at least one cooked vegetable. Steak. Really good.
But she's like, if you're feeling pain, we can't feel it. It could be very tiny. Okay, we could be in there, and we have to be able to see through the ultrasound if there's any type of lumps that we can't physically feel ourselves. And to be honest, she was just like 1, 2, 3.
I'm back at the hotel. Can you see me? Hi. I'm a little nervous because there's no answers yet. I was hoping she'd be like, oh, it's this. Just take this pill, it's done. Or, oh, it's that. Just take this supplement, it's done. And she was like, I have no idea what's wrong with you.
Hi, how are you? How are you? You doing good?
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry, yeah. Me always. I'm always hungry.
When TkyoSam walks up to that group of schoolgirls and attempts to make them laugh, there's nothing funny about it. There's nothing charming about it. None of those girls are flirting with him. None of them are happy to meet him. It's an awkward situation in which Japanese people are trying to save face. In plain English, they're trying to help you avoid feeling embarrassed. And in a strange sense, they're trying to avoid feeling embarrassed themselves. It's not so different from our culture of nervous laughter. How would you feel if, when you were a teenager, whether you're a teenage boy, teenage girl, think back to those years of your life, how would you feel if an enormously obese foreigner, doesn't really matter which ethnicities are involved here, imagine yourself as a white teenage girl in London, England, and an enormously fat black man from Africa waddles up to you and makes the same kind of joke TkyoSam makes here. Waddles up to you in a group of your friends. Is it funny? You're not laughing with him, and you're not laughing at him. You're just trying to save face. You're just trying to cope with the embarrassment of this strange, unasked for situation any way you can. Now, I think this is worth criticizing. I think this is really worth pointing the finger at because TkyoSam, for about 10 years, he has been actively marketing this fantasy on YouTube. He's saying, you, yes, you, can buy an airplane ticket, fly halfway around the world, and you can get the attention and adoration of so many beautiful women. His bedrock claim, again and again and again, on his channel has been that he is fat and he gets laid anyway. That he has been grotesquely fat in Japan for all these years, but that because he's self-confident, because he's funny, because he has a devil-may-care attitude, that allegedly women are lining up to sleep with him. And you know, The details are always lacking. I've never once heard this guy say how many girlfriends he's had in the last year, how many women he slept with in the last 5 years, how many of those were commitment relationships as opposed to one-night stands. There are many different levels on which this is obviously selling people a fantasy. And it's his fantasy. It's a fantasy that's ruining his life right now. And he's inviting you to ruin your own life by believing in it. I've lived in quite a few different countries in Asia. And there were times when I could say to you, an attractive woman would proposition me for sex every day that I left the house. I never went to nightclubs. Never once. I didn't go to bars. I didn't go to nightclubs. I was like going from my apartment to the library. I was going from my apartment to the gym. And yeah, often enough I had a job to go back and forth from. There were times when it was one a week. And you know what? I said no every single time. I turned them down over and over and over again. And I met guys who were living the opposite lifestyle. Not that many, but there were a couple guys I really talked to in depth about what it was like to try to sleep with the greatest number of women possible while they were living in Asia. This is a short anecdote, but it's illustrative. I was once talking to this guy. He had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He was born and raised as an ethnically brown-skinned person in, we'll just say in the United States of America. And he was in that category where in America, white people didn't accept him, but also black people didn't accept him, and also Hispanic people didn't accept him. He always felt like he was a bit of an outsider, and he always had to compete just to get attention and just to get respect. And I think he really had a sense of kind of wanting revenge on society by trying to seduce and sleep with women all around the world. You know, so already you can see there were elements of this that were tragic. And I remember he got into boasting to me that although large-breasted women were really rare in that part of Asia, that he was nevertheless very proud of himself because he seduced and slept with this one young woman, I think 18 or 19 or something, so really young, who had large breasts. He had finished university a couple years before, so I mean he wasn't that much older. I don't know if he was 23 or 22. But he wasn't that much shockingly older than her. He pretty much went straight out of university into womanizing. And, you know, without missing a beat, my response to him was this. Yeah? And where did you put your passport that night while you were in the hotel room with her? And he burst out laughing immediately. And he said, dude, you have no idea what it's like. That he had taken his wallet and his passport and hidden it in a pillowcase and kept it right under his head. And he started regaling me with the details about how all night he had been afraid, that he had been, keeping one eye open as he tried to sleep with his face on his wallet and passport. Because like, okay, you managed to sleep with this woman, but the level of trust, the level of respect is so low, you think she's going to rob you. And you even think the only reason she slept with you is because she wanted to rob you. That's how you live your life. That's who you are. You know, do that for 5 years or 10 years, and you think you're not a scumbag at the end of it. If you weren't a scumbag at the beginning of that process, you think you would be by the end of the process? Like, this lifestyle TkyoSam pretends he's living, and it is not convincing in any way. If you think he's womanizing when he walks up to these women and acts like a clown, is like, hey, let's all take photographs for Instagram together. you don't know what womanizing is. Okay? If you think that guy is successfully seducing or getting laid with any of those women, you don't know the first thing about relations between the sexes. And you know what? Maybe some of his fans really do fall into that category. But let's just imagine a parallel universe in which this wasn't all a lie. Let's just imagine a parallel universe in which this guy really was the womanizer that he pretends to be. What kind of a scumbag would he be today? The choices that you make in this way, just as ineluctably as the choices you make in your diet, the choices you make in relation to drugs and alcohol, the choices you make in relation to self-discipline. The choices you make change the person you are. It's completely useless to talk to someone like TkyoSam about self-respect. We live in a culture today, the most despicable people have excess self-respect. They have so much self-respect that they can come here on YouTube and sell you some of the self-respect they have left over. Oh yeah. What I have to say to people like TkyoSam is to stop kidding themselves and thinking that these women who laugh nervously when they make a joke, to stop thinking that those women have any respect for them. Sam, these people despise you. And if you want to get motivated to make the change that you have been saying for decades you're going to make, maybe you need to take a step back and with all due detachment, take a look at yourself through their eyes. Maybe at this juncture, what you need is not self-respect and not self-esteem. Maybe you need to despise yourself. Maybe you need to have some detachment and really recognize how despicable you are.
お名前はこの二人で。ハマチシェル。シェル。そっかハマチとシェル。あ、お魚だね。お魚だね。あ、大丈夫。自分のバイクの名前はスパゲティ。
I want you to think for one moment about what seduction means in principle. If you seduce someone, you're convincing them that you are somebody other than who you really are. You're convincing them that your motivations are better than they really are. Your intentions are better than they really are. To seduce someone is to create the illusion that you're a better person than you really are, even if that lasts for just one shameful night. People still ask me for advice about open relationships, about polyamory, about our currently fashionable, socially acceptable mode of sleeping around. If you're unhappy with your own life and you start seducing others, you think you're going to become happy with your life? You think you're going to become happy with who you are? Or do you think you're going to hone the skills necessary to lie to other people about who you really are? And do you think there's a chance that once you get really good at it, you might also start lying to yourself?